Alrighty, well, it's novel night, and this isn't really a novel. I guess it kind of could read like a novel. But they're like really short vignettes that kind of like build, I think, that was like the goal, into something else. You know, it's kind of like Gaumo, if you've seen that. Alright, so the first one is called Sex Ed. My brother was into witchcraft for a time, the occult of Crowley, the unholy trickery of the tarot. He started wearing black and plaguing himself with pentagrams, lipstick smears, and eyeliner. He read books by Anton LaVey and produced poetry so dark it made Rimbaud seem like a pussy. His clothes became baggier and raggedy, only washed if my mother insisted. Some of them looked like mere rags. He wanted to look like a lowlife, and this fact didn't go unnoticed by anybody else in the family, let alone the neighbors. Our treehouse still stood in that outcropping of trees just minutes from our house. Little did I know that it was still a sanctuary for my brother, an incubator for his dabbling and perversities. But I had always been a pretty lonely kid, always seeking affection, and so when my brother invited me to his tiny castle in the woods, I went, not really caring one way or the other what we found ourselves engaged in there. When we got out into the field near the creek, my brother produced a plastic bag, a big old Ziploc, the biggest I'd ever seen, and said, "We're frog hunting." Actually wasn't an odd thing for me. I was an outdoorsy type when I was young, so I went at it fast and furious, scooping up frogs by the fistfuls down on the muddy banks and throwing them into the bag, not questioning the fate that lay ahead of them. We must have had 20 in there by the time we made it back up to the treehouse. It was about 30 or 40 feet up, with foot-long scraps of 2x4 nailed into the trunk as a ladder. When we got inside, my brother produced some kind of evil book of rituals and rites, slapped it on his lap, and searched for the right page. I was observing the bag of frogs, holding it up, twisting it in the light, when he promptly ripped it from my hands. He had a kitchen pot up there, all scorched on the inside, and he started filling it with lighter fluid that he had produced from some secret compartment in his fortress. "What are you gonna do?" I asked him. "Just watch," he said. "Hold this book open so I could read it." He pulled out a matchbook, laid it beside him. "My God," I thought, "we have to be quick about this, okay?" He said. "Now just hold the book up so I can read it." I didn't want to, but I held it up anyway. He lit a match and threw it into the pool of lighter fluid. The fire was a lot bigger than I had anticipated. Then he had the Ziploc bag open, dumping the frogs in before I could do something to stop him. I closed my eyes. The sound was indescribable. Popping, hissing, tiny little screams, and the stench was unbearable. I opened my eyes in time to see a couple of them hop out of the flames, but they hadn't put themselves out. No, they were slow-dying balls of fire. My brother hurriedly read from the book words that would never mean anything to me. And then he clapped the lid over the flame and stomped out the few frogs that had escaped beneath his shoe. I wanted to cry. I wanted resurrection, but I also wanted my brother to love me. So instead I asked him, "What kind of spell did you cast?" He tells me, "There's this girl at school I want to fuck." All right. The next one is called Water Slaves. There was this friend of mine who went into the bathroom after this other kid's birthday party and slit both of his wrists. I was 16 years old, the other two kids were 15, and the suicide attempter was 18. It was 2 o'clock in the morning when it happened. We had been watching movies when he disappeared. The movie ended, he was still in the bathroom. That's when we started to worry. We knocked and knocked and knocked. He didn't respond. We knocked again, quietly saying his name through the door. No response. Alarmed, we took a coat hanger, bent it out of shape, and picked a lock with it. It only took a minute to work the lock. When we got the door open, we found him, conscious, standing, watching his blood make small pools on the linoleum. There was panic in our hearts, but we also were fairly used to his behavior. We knew what to expect. We wrapped up his wounds the best we could, scotch taping toilet paper around his wrists, but the tape kept falling off because he was bleeding through it. So we got into his car and drove to the 24-hour Walmart a few blocks away to get some supplies. It was a still summer night. The stars were out, cloudless sky, moon full, shining. When we got to Walmart, we came upon the aerosol stuff in the bandage aisle, a spray that seals up wounds, some kind of strange skin glue, also some butterfly tape, some gauze, and some duct tape, and went back to his house to get our nurse on. We were quiet getting back into this house, trying not to wake anybody, and then we made our way down into the bathroom. It took some time, but eventually we got him all fixed up, somehow stopped the bleeding. Luckily, he hadn't cut deep enough to rake a vein. By the time we were done with his damaged wrist, it was already closing in on 5 in the morning. We were going to caravan to Oklahoma City with our friend's parents early that morning, part of the celebration, to spend the day at a water park. We'll just be more tired if we only sleep 2 hours. We said that aloud a few times to convince ourselves of its staying power, but knew it was a bad idea before our lips even moved. All we knew was that we were going to go spend the day at a water park. We were going to smile. We had a 2-hour drive ahead of us, a few packs of cigarettes and some weed. We made sure the slits in his wrists were watertight. We were not about to let anything get in our way. We were going to go shoot down some water slides. All right. This is called Disney Vacation. Another summer, or maybe the same summer, I'm 11 and hanging out with my brother and this kid we go to church with. We're at the neighborhood park, swinging, shooting hoops, dicking around on seesaw, and then out of nowhere, my brother has this little baggie out of his pocket, and he's asking this kid we go to church with if he wants any. The bag is filled with these tiny yellowish crystals. The kid says, "What is it?" My brother, he must sense some amount of uncoolness in the kid because he just shrugs, says, "Nothing, just some candy." Puts the baggie back into his pocket. We shoot hoops for a while. Then my brother stops and points his finger at my best friend's house. He says, "You want to go into that house with us?" The kid is hesitant to answer. His face is like, "What?" And his hands and feet are nervous. "What?" My brother shrugs. "It's no biggie, they're friends. They just happen to be out of town for the weekend." But this kid makes a silly hand motion and says, "Oh, no, I can't do that. I'm late, I've got to go." And he leaves just like that. Me and my brother, we go home too, not saying another thing about it. Later that night, my brother wakes me. He says, "We're doing it." I say, "What the, what?" And he says, "We're going into the house. Come on, get dressed." I hesitate, but only for a minute. When we get there, we spend a few minutes figuring out the best form of entry. We check the doors, but they're all locked. All the windows are locked too, except for the storm window, which my brother pushes in with his fist. He snakes down into the dark without a word. Objects crash around him, pictures, trophies, trinkets. And I whisper down, "You okay?" He says, "Yeah, fine. Come on, I'll let you in through the back door." The sliding glass door at the back of the house opens. I'm inside. We start in the kitchen, snooping through the cupboards. Find a bottle of vodka tucked behind some crackers. My brother fills a glass, no mixer, and drinks down about a third of it, and then asks if I want any, but I shake my head. Nah. We make our way up the stairs, looking through all their stuff along the way. Exhilarated, my heart races faster and faster, but I feel dirty too. So much muck of confusion, making a slow drive into me. My best friend's parents' bedroom is a gold mine that we're not expecting. While looking through the dresser drawer, we come across a penthouse. Claudia Schiffer's in it, showing her stuff. Tits, legs, ass, all of it, out and on display. I try to play off my excitement, but can feel the heat in my face, the blood rushing. In another drawer, a video cassette, an oversized packaging, porno, and a couple of rubber penises. My brother calls them dildos. I pulled them out and looked them over. One of them is about 10 inches long. At the base, there's a place to put batteries. I turned them over in my hands, imagining my best friend's mother putting them inside of her. I feel slightly sick, slightly turned on, slightly embarrassed. Suddenly, I want to leave. I feel wrong being there. My brother has the porno going on the large screen TV, watching with vague interest while drinking his liquor. I say, "Hey, I want to go. I'm getting tired." He says, "Okay, we'll go. Just give me a minute." And he closes the door. I go into my best friend's bedroom and lay down on his bed. I close my eyes. I wait. I start counting sheep to alleviate the boredom. Not really sheep, just allowing myself in the dark. I open my eyes, I close them, I open them, I wait, I count. I wonder what could possibly be taking so long. I count some more. I think about Claudia Schiffer's perfect boobs. Stop thinking about them, start again, stop again. Decide to lay on my stomach so I don't start jacking off on instinct in my best friend's bed. Laying on your boner isn't exactly comfortable. I'm starting to think we'll get into trouble, that someone will find out what we've done, that maybe we will end up at a jail for kids, somewhere off in the sticks. I'm grinding my teeth, eyes closed, face down, reaching for a thought that will make me feel just the slightest bit clearer inside, when I hear my brother walking through the hallway, calling my name, signaling departure. And to this day, when someone says my name, I feel this unnameable force around me. It comes on at the back of my neck, then full on, cold and familiar, it tugs at me, trying to pull me away from one place and set me down in another. All right, am I good on time? Okay, yeah, I have one little tiny one.
Okay, that's fine.
Cough syrup. My dad used to drink cough syrup like it was going out of style. He was doing that shit way before Lil Wayne even materialized his sperm. He'd sit at the table and drink half a bottle straight down and smoke cigarettes in a daze. One night he got so looped, he was out of his mind. He kept telling my sister to massage his brain. Please, he'd say, massage my brain. Massage my medulla oblongata. And so she went along with it. She started rubbing her hands through his hair vigorously, giggling. And then he started saying shit like, you are massaging my brain. You are massaging my medulla oblongata. This weird, loud, trembling vibrato. This went on for like 2 hours. It was better than watching a movie. I sat on the couch, watched, laughing until I could no longer breathe. My lungs hurt so bad I thought I'd spit blood. Then he told her to stop, so she stopped for a minute. And he looked up at her from his chair and said, I need to sit down. My ass needs to sit down. She laughed. Dad, you're already sitting down. Don't lie to me, he said. Give me a chair. I need to sit my ass down. All right, that's all I got.
Questions?
I read somewhere that not everyone was a fan of your spelling of Wichita.
No, people are pissed. People that live in Wichita don't like it at all. But there's a reason behind it. A lot of it is based on like stuff from my past and childhood and whatever. But a lot of it is made up, And so by misspelling the name of the city I'm from, that's the fictional city, So people there don't like it. But no one else has had a problem, so.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else?
So yeah, so like Scott McClanahan, who wrote the book, is obviously an influence, and I'm guessing like Barry Hannah and Bonnie Jo Campbell, those type of people. But what is an influence of those stories and of your writing that would surprise us?
An influence that would surprise you?
Yeah, whether it's fiction or not, or writing or not.
Well, I'm more of a film nerd, actually. Probably like Stanley Kubrick is one of my biggest influences on anything I create. But
Cool.
yeah, because he was like perfect, but
That's a good reason.
That's a good role model.
yeah. That it? All right, cool. Thanks, guys.